program are solely that of Klodowski Real Estate, not WBEV or Good Karma Brand.
And welcome into Taking Care of Business. Today's show featuring, of course, our friends at Klodowski Real Estate. Chris, Abby, welcome to the show. Always a pleasure having you guys on. We always have so much fun before the show even starts talking.
I'm a little sad that Dancing Queen had to go away.
I'm sorry. I mean, he could probably pot it. Oh, no, he made it go away. Oh, no. Wally, he's so good up there. But great music choice, too, by the way. I don't know if that was you, Wally, but well done, sir. As always, we're going to bring you guys on because we're going to talk about everything real estate because you guys are our local real estate advisors. You do such a great job with it. And there's always questions and things that can come up. Do want to remind people, if you have any questions, you can actually give us a call on the show. We're more than happy to take your questions on the air. You can call us at 885-4446 or 887-9595. That 9595 number, also a text line. And Wally will be sure to let us know if we get any calls or texts coming in. We also recommend you check us out on Daily Dodge TV. You can subscribe, you can like the videos, and of course you can get notified. So when we have more shows like this, they'll know and they can check it out. Now that I've plugged all of our stuff, let's plug you guys a little bit.
We'd love a phone call. I feel like we've been doing this for over a year, and we've only had one phone call one time.
All right, everybody. I know you're out there on Radio Land listening. A few people watching in video. We need some good real estate questions. So please give us a call. Once again, 885-4446. Wally is standing by. He'd be more than happy to pass you through to us. Let's start by reminding everybody who you guys are. Share with the world.
Family boutique real estate firm located here in Beaver Dam. It's Abby, Adam, myself. I'm the mom. Those two are twins. We serve Dodge County, a little bit into Columbia, Fond du Lac County, but mainly Dodge County. We work, live, play, give back in this community. We have a Facebook page, KlodowskiRealEstate.com. We'll be having a number of open houses this weekend, so we'll be posting on that on there tomorrow or Thursday, the dates and times and locations. We also have a website, KlodowskiRealEstate.com, or you're welcome to call us anytime, 920-219-9212.
Now, unless I'm incorrect, on your website, you do have, it shows like a map of the area homes and stuff that are available. They're on the MLS right now, so
correct.
You can go there, start looking at things, and it's directly to you guys. It's not like going to, realtor.com or something
Correct.
and click on the contact us.
Yes, if you go to our website, first of all, to get in there, it makes you register, and we apologize for that. We have shopped.
We're so sorry.
We really are so sorry. We have shopped websites, but to be linked in, most people want that.
Right.
When you register on there, you automatically get a welcome email from us, but that's all you are going to get from us unless you put in some saved search criteria so you get email listings. Or if you want to look at something and you click on our website saying, hey, we'd like to request a showing, then we will reach out to you, but you initiate that conversation with us. We will not be regularly calling or texting or emailing you.
So no regular, bulk emails from Abby with her favorite pumpkin spice recipes for the fall or anything like that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. When you start sending those out, let me know. I'm a big fan.
Absolutely will.
You guys today, you brought in an interesting checklist of stuff to go through, and what timely of a checklist
Tis
it
the
is.
season, yes, especially with the freeze warning tonight.
We turned the heat on for the first time last night. We've held out for a couple of days, much to the detriment of my entire family. But I'm like, the house still feels fine, and maybe if you wore full pants instead of shorts.
It's only 51 in here.
Exactly. It took my wife last night going, okay, at this point, the porch is warmer than the rest of the house, and the cats are all cuddled up in a, cuteness pile on the couch. We need to turn the heat on. I was like, all right, fine. And finally went on. I gave in.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. There are plenty of people that have that set November 1st or even, God forbid, November 15th. They turn the heat on before that. And
I feel like Ryan and Tiff are November 1st people, I'm pretty sure.
I am of the school of thought, I want to be comfortable in my own home. I mean, yes, I'll give it a little. It can get down to 64, somewhere in there. But yeah, then the heat comes on.
I seem to remember growing up, my father was very much it does not come on unless the temperature is consistently below 50 degrees. Otherwise, it was put
on
a
the
blanket
inside or
on.
the outside?
Inside, yeah. And now that he's
Holy
retired
buckets.
and older or whatever, I go to their house and it's 85. I'm like, what are you doing?
We joke about the same. My mom and dad, at best, it got to 68. but at night it went down to like 58 or 60.
Right? Because
And
they're all in
then-
bed under blankets anyways.
Yes. So never above 68. And then as they've gotten older, I mean, it'd be nothing like 70, then it was 72.
I was gonna say, like, when we like
And more recently, my mom was passed in July. She was 87 and like 74. Sometimes like we'd go over there to do things or like put up the Christmas tree and like we're wearing tank tops underneath our clothes so we can take everything off when we
We
get
open a
there.
window, do
right?
something.
Step out in the garage to cool off a
Oh,
little
man.
bit.
It's insane. It's like, or you could have just moved to a warmer climate. You didn't have to do.
We're glad they stuck around.
That's good. That's good. Now there might be some people out there who are looking to move to a warmer climate and maybe trying to offload a house here in the area.
Oh,
And
good
of course, we
transition.
know they can call you guys because you're going to be more than helpful in doing so. But before we get into that, let's get back into this fall maintenance thing. How important is it? I mean, just in general, to do maintenance on your home as a homeowner. Like,
in general, I can't stress it enough. Even some simple little things that aren't overly expensive, just to maintain your home and not end up with bigger costs down the line. But obviously, from our perspective, at some point you're likely going to sell that house.
right?
That the more regular maintenance you put into it, the more that will be returned to you. Like when you go into a home, it's obvious. You walk into a home that someone's been in for 42 years, and they got their list, and we put the roof on here, or the stickers on the furnace showing that every single year they have annually had that cleaned and serviced.
the
Like
stickers on the water filter.
Yeah.
That one guy out on the golf course, he had on his in the little sheet protectors,
Right.
a note of every service on his maybe water. I think I feel like it was on every single mechanical that he
Right.
had. He had a note, and this is when we did this, and like the garage door opener and all of it. He knew
it speaks
all
to
of
how
it.
someone cares,
Right.
how well someone cared for their home.
I mean, that's not a bad idea to keep track of it, especially. But I guess that does make a little bit of sense. I assume you guys, when you walk in, you know right away if people have just ignored little things and let them run for a little long.
Sometimes just pulling up to the curb, you can tell that.
You guys have better eyes for that than a lot of people, though, because some people, when they're house shopping, they maybe go a little bit visually blind to some of those defects.
sure.
Because of the excitement of it's a new house I haven't seen before. Ooh, I really like this fireplace, but they're completely ignoring the fact that they probably haven't cleaned it ever.
Or they're a few months in, and they're like, okay, well, we need a house now.
Right.
And they're like, yep, well, this one will work. Will it?
That's why it's nice to work with a buyer's agent, someone that is truly just representing you, that it has a fireplace, great. And I was this buyer. Like when I bought my first house, I was that buyer. Like I go in like, oh, it's so cute, and this is great, and that's great. And then I'd have my dad come along for a second look, and he'd be like, oh,
Somebody who's not paying for it, so
Correct.
they could be a little bit pickier. Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, he was a buzzkill, but now I feel like I'm kind of that person. Like, I don't try to be a buzzkill, but like to point out things so people are aware. Like, if they're part of what they love most about this house is a fireplace, and that is their biggest priority in finding a house, and the chimney bricks are falling out, and we point those things out. I mean,
Right.
you want to know.
It's like there's no point of having the fireplace if you can't use
Right.
it, right?
And
That
if
makes
they're
sense.
like, great, okay, how much do you think that's gonna cost? Okay, $5,000, great, we still want to buy it.
Right. And that's actually one of the items on your list, talking about fall especially. And now's a great time for it because people are going to start using those fireplaces more and more. You've got clean the chimney and the fireplace. Are there even like chimney sweeps anymore? Do these people?
Yes.
There are, yes.
They
He's
exist?
at there's one at the fair every
At the
two.
fair?
There's a gentleman named John that is at the fair every year. I would bet for close to, well over 20 years. And then there's Daisy Sweeps here in the area. But yes, there are.
And then Badger, is it called Badger?
Badger Fireplace?
Badger Fireplace
Conway?
that's in that.
I don't know that-
They have a little office next
Are they
to.
still in there?
Maybe, I don't know. When I bought my house, they came and did like
Came over and checked it over for
yeah,
you?
they did. It's gas, but they did a whole checkup and made sure we weren't gonna like blow ourselves up or anything like that.
Goodness. Well, let's talk about this one, though. Let's talk about windows and doors.
So, like, on Sunday, Abby went to the Packer game, and I stayed with her children. And I went around to every window in her house. This isn't checking for air leaks, but she has, the double pane glass windows, but then there's also storms. and all of them were still up. So I went around to her windows to shut the storms, just for that little extra vapor barrier between the warm and the cold. But also, yeah, checking, make sure your windows are up in place and latched. If the curtains are breezing in a good windy day, it's something to note that maybe you would like to replace a window here and there.
Right. Check the weather sealing or
Yep,
something, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Caulk around, the outside of the framing. Because not everyone can be like, oh, yeah, I need 22 new windows. I'm going to just cough the money up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just in the back pocket constantly.
And then, of course, the plastic, it's a backup if you don't have the means to replace the windows right now. Help seal them up at least for the winter.
Alliant will send you those. If you go on their website, their like energy saver, whatever program will send you all of the stuff you need to like plastic your windows.
There you go. I like that. Now, I have to admit, storm windows is always one of those areas where I'm like, but you close it, and then you get that, like, condensation between the two. Windows fog up a little bit sometimes. I'm like, then it's hard to see outside, and it's so pretty outside. That's also, though, kind of an indicator that maybe your seals and stuff have issues,
I was going
right?
to say, like...
So, honey, if you're listening, we may want to look at the seals in a couple of our windows. That is kind of an important thing, though, because that's not just good for keeping, the windows operating like new, but also... that's going to help with your energy costs.
Yeah,
immensely.
energy costs. And weather stripping, like on the bottom of your doors. First of all, if you can see daylight coming in when it's laid out around your door frame, something should be addressed there. But even like the weather stripping on the bottom, I know our front door it probably needs to be replaced every year this time of year.
Right.
Opening and closing, it starts to come off. And on a good windy day when the wind's right, you can feel that air coming in through the bottom of there. Just little things to make your house more comfortable and energy efficient.
I have had to make the argument in our household because my wife wanted to buy one of those. It's like a bean or rice filled or something thing that you put by the door. And I was like, for the $30 you're spending on that, we could probably just buy some new weather stripping for the bottom and be cheaper. And then I wouldn't have to worry about kicking it back in place of the door or the cats carrying it off. Yeah, I've had to make that argument a few times.
May I just stand in your wife's defense for a split second?
Uh-oh. Yeah?
If she is not capable of putting the trim on the bottom of the door and she wants it done,
That's true.
the beanbag thing will serve its purpose.
She probably should have married a capable man. Instead she got
I'm not
me.
saying you're not capable. You are a busy man.
I am a busy man. Actually, my wife will tell you, of all the honeydew listings that we have, a lot of them are little maintenance things. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, I'll get to that when it's a nicer day out. I'll get to that when it's a nicer day. And then it never happens because it's such a nice day. Why would I want to work today? And so now she's looking at me and she's like, yeah, what happened to the nicer days? I'm like, Indian summer's got to come eventually, right? So, yeah, I'm going to get yelled at later for that. This one's kind of an important one I've noticed. And you got on here about storing outdoor equipment and furniture. The number of people I know personally, the grill is one I think of. Like, I want to grill for as late into the season as I can, and then we get that one major snowstorm. It buries the grill. It sits there all winter. Spring comes along, it all thaws, and they go, why is it all rusted? Why does nothing work? Why is this bad? Guess I got to buy a new grill now. I can't afford that. And outdoor equipment and furniture isn't cheap.
No. I mean, sometimes if you don't have storage space for it, at least to cover it, that's not cheap necessarily to buy covers either. But we have further down on the list, but like hose reels, like when you're running the water, open up the hose, kind of, flip through it so like you can drain the water out of it, especially if it's stored in an area where it's going to freeze so it doesn't crack your hose.
Well, I guess, you don't think about that because when it's looped around on the thing, that lower section, gravity, that's where water is going to pull.
Right.
And, of course, we know it expands when it freezes, and that can damage your hoses. So that makes a lot of sense as well. This next one I want to take a minute to talk about because this one's a super important one. As somebody who reads the news every morning, there's probably not a week that goes by that I don't hear about a residential fire of some sort somewhere. And there's always the question of, are your smoke detectors working? Have they been tested? Have the batteries been swapped out? But then you have on here as well carbon monoxide detectors, which now you can even get them where they're both, right?
Correct, yep.
So that's a super important one to be checking on multiple times a year, not just in the fall.
Yeah, and none of us think we're going to have a house fire.
Right, we hope not.
But yes, to be prepared for that just in case. Changing the batteries, I don't know if that's still twice a year, like with the time change, what the recommendation is.
Yeah.
Is this Fire Safety Month? October?
If it is, I think you're right. I think it is. And if I'm wrong, somebody out there can give us a call, 885-4446. But yeah, I think you are correct. I think it is Fire Safety Month. Yeah, because I think we had a news story about how sometimes you can get a free smoke detector or two from your local fire department oftentimes.
And then there's also a life expectancy to a smoke detector. And I don't recall if it's 10 years. I want to say it's like 10 years.
Right.
So that 10 years goes quick. I mean, like if you've been in your house 10 years, it's time.
Right.
Even though if you push the button and it still works, it's time for a new smoke detector up there.
Right.
And yeah, carbon monoxide detectors, especially if you have natural gas in your house, you want to have those available.
Plus, changing the batteries is super important because nobody wants to be like watching their favorite TV show or movie and hearing that beep go off every couple of minutes. Then you're doing the walk around your house trying to figure out which one it is.
Right.
That's the one you're going to fix.
There you stand in the hallways at that. Which ear am I going to hear that in?
10 years from the date of manufacturing.
Oh, for
There
manufacturer.
you go. I know we had, when we first moved into our house, we hadn't gone through and replaced them all yet, which I had been told you should do that when you move into the home, just so you know that your batteries are up to date. And we hadn't done it yet, and we heard one going off, and we spent probably the better part of about 4 hours trying to figure out where it was coming from. We didn't realize there was one on the outside stairs that from the outside door going to the basement. So we're standing there at our stairwell, like it sounds like it's coming from upstairs, but it also sounds like it's coming from downstairs. And yeah, that was a fun day. But yeah, that's one we can't stress enough. Definitely, people, if you're out there, test your smoke detectors, your carbon monoxide detectors. It's just one little button. You're going to know the cats. You're going to know everybody in your house. Test it at 4 a.m. See what your kids do.
And on that note,
thing.
yes, to have a plan, like talk to your kids. Like if that ever went off and it was a real fire, even egress windows in basements, they're designed to get out. But if your children are sleeping in a downstairs bedroom with an egress and you haven't had them practice opening that window and popping off the screen so they can get out, it's a good time to practice.
That's right.
It's
Nobody's
better
going to take the
invest
time to pull out the instructions and read it before. Yeah.
Right. And then should that happen, are you meeting at the mailbox? Are you meeting at the back pine tree? Like, where is everybody meeting so mom or dad doesn't think there's still a child in the house and they're in the front yard and mom and dad are thinking about going back in to try and find that out. Have a meeting spot.
Absolutely. And of course, people first, always.
Yep.
We did hear just had a story this morning about, unfortunately, some pets that were lost in a fire. One pet was able to make it out. We love our pets. We definitely want those family members to stay with us, but people first. Always important to know. We're looking at some more stuff that has to do with the outside of the home here. These are definitely visual things, but also important things. One of them we have on here is repair siding.
So when you've, vinyl siding is what I think of, and you've hit it with the weed whacker and weed trimmer, whatever the proper term is.
But that's what I call it, so you're good.
Hit a hole in the siding. I so commonly see that.
Right.
And they sell kits. I'm sure Menards has them or Fleet Farm has them. I know Amazon has them. It's just a clear thing that you can put over that so moisture, so water, snow, rain is not getting into that opening.
Right.
It's just sealed up.
Because behind that is basically just, whatever weather sealing might have been put up when it was put on, and then you're into, the wood and the sheeting of the house, and water inside is always a bad thing. After that, you have trim branches. I think if you don't have it down here further, then I'm going to try and add to that a little bit. It's probably a good time to look at your flower beds and other things, make sure they're maybe a little bit cleaned up so you're not trapping old plants with moisture and snow up against the house. So also important. But the tree and branches, I discovered this when we bought our house. Branches get heavy in the winter.
That's the thought. Yes, you get snow on them or you get freezing rain and they're hanging much lower than what they currently are.
Yeah, we had a fun, semi-scary moment because we went outside and we're like, oh, look, it's so pretty that the tree's covered in ice. It's great. And I was like, I don't remember being able to reach this part of the branch before. And I grabbed it and pulled, and the entire branch just came off the tree. And I was like, oh. And, almost landed on me. But we're like, okay, one, don't do that again. And two, that made my wife go, do we need to get the trees entirely trimmed? And I was like, the wood was healthy. It was fine. It's just a lot of weight. It was a lot of strain.
Especially things that are right over the house or would be on the house if they had some extra weight of snow on them.
That makes a lot of sense. Talk to me about dehumidifier and humidifier.
So most of the time, summer we run dehumidifiers in our lower levels just because of the extra moisture in that there. This is the time of year to evaluate that. Like, is it time to shut off the dehumidifier because wood burning heat, forced air heat, they're a drier heat.
Right.
So I know in our house, the dehumidifier goes off in the fall once the heat's coming on. And then sometimes people have like April airs or humidifiers attached to their furnace to add a little moisture back into the air when the furnace runs.
Right. And humid air always feels warmer in general, so that makes sense. This is one I had to debate with a former girlfriend. Definitely not my wife. My wife was good about this. She knows. She's from Arizona. She understands ceiling fans. Running your ceiling fans in reverse. Explain that to people who don't understand what that means.
So, like in the summer, you have it blowing down, whereas you turn it around to circulate your warm air throughout your house. I myself like it the opposite way. So in the bedroom, because I want the air blowing on me at night.
You like that moving air. I get it.
Yes. Or if you don't have a ceiling fan, like we have a great room that does not have a ceiling fan, and we just bought a small fan that sits on top of a cabinet just to keep bringing, because if you ever climb a ladder to wash a window in the winter, it's like 90 degrees up there and it's 68 down at the floor. So to keep moving some of that air around to...
And people forget, like, your thermostat is like, 30 some inches, 36 inches off the floor, but your ceilings might go up to, like, our house, it's like 8-foot ceilings, so it's up there.
Just to keep the air moving.
Yeah. You talked about this one a little bit earlier, where we kind of touched on it with the disconnecting the garden hose, shutting off the water supply, drain lines. I highly recommend all of that. The one that I'm going to add to this, and I don't know if you have on here or not, you have a little bit with downspouts. And so we have a sump pump hose that kicks water out if we have water in the basement.
Yeah.
We discovered after our first year that if it's left at full length, because of the length that it has to go through to get out, freezes partway down, and then we have problems. So knowing that about our house, we now shorten the hose in the wintertime, and that has saved us so much. Which I guess leads into something we'll touch on now. It's kind of important to know your home, right?
It is, because like the shutting off the water supply and draining the lines, if you have the frost-free faucets, they're already designed that when you shut them off, they, probably backflow a little bit or come out. So like there isn't water trapped between like the house and the wall coming out to the faucet. But if you have the older faucets, you want to go inside and shut off that line and then open it up. I'm on the radio and I'm doing gestures clearly.
Yeah, luckily, people on Daily Dutch TV can see all of it. So they're very good gestures, by the way, for anybody who's not watching.
Shut it off on the water line outside where the faucet goes up, but then open up the faucet to drain that out of there, and then you can close it back up, but to make sure there's no water sitting in the line.
And this is really especially important, I think, for people who maybe are snowbirds. They travel out of the state.
Oh, yeah.
And if they don't remember to do this, and that line decides to freeze and then burst inside, people may not know for quite a while. That can be a lot of water that's just spraying into your basement or crawl space or wherever.
And I think a fair share of snowbirds shut their water supply off to the house, unless, of course, they have, like radiant heat or something of that nature.
Right, where they have to keep it on. Yeah. So, like I said, we kind of touched on some of this with the gutters, downspouts. You have something on here about the slope and pitch away from the house.
Walk around your house and just, does it look like your flower beds or whatever's next to the house is a touch higher, so that like if snow was on the side of your house and it started to melt, like it would start to roll away, or even like a good rainstorm, it would roll away from your house versus rolling back towards your foundation.
Right.
And then you're more apt to have water in your basement. Most home inspectors will say the causes of water in the basement are filled gutters, downspouts without the end on them, so it's coming right out at the foundation, or the grading or the pitch back to the house instead of away from the house.
And I guess we don't really think about the fact that, in the wintertime, our houses are kind of the warmest thing around. So if it's going to melt, it's going to start melting closer than further away. You got some notes on here about cleaning and bleeding your hot water radiators. Now, my home doesn't have a hot water radiator, but some homes still do.
I can't speak to that because the actual metal radiators that sit in rooms, bleeding them helps get those air pockets out, so you don't get the rattling and the pounding noises as the water starts to move through, but also like washing it off, getting the dust and then off there to, again, be more efficient and warmer in your house.
There you go. I actually kind of miss having the hot water radiators as a kid. Like, I'd get up on a cold winter morning, I'd put my pants on there.
They're
my
so
socks
warm,
on there.
yeah.
It was great, Then when I finally hop out of bed 15 minutes later, like all my clothes are warm, and there's nothing like a warm pair of briefs in the morning to really make you feel comfortable. So highly recommend those if you can find them. We're gonna go back to this one. This one has a lot to do with that foundation again, cleaning window wells. I think that's one of those areas where I myself have even forgotten to do.
Sure.
But it's not that hard.
The
really.
leaves get in there, or even the egress window wells. I mean, if you get enough leaves and things in there, snow is a good thing, too, to think about. Like, if you're utilizing that as a bedroom, to clean that out with snow, too, so someone can open that window in an emergency to get out. But, yeah, you get enough junk down in there, and next thing you know, you got a few mice living down there, a few salamanders.
I know, year one, we didn't think about it at all until after all the leaves had fallen off our trees, and I realized that they were just filled with nothing but leaves. So luckily, got the blower out and just real quick blew it all out. That was fine. Year two, we got smarter and bought those little covers
Lids
you
that
can
go
put on
from,
it.
yeah.
And perfect. And nobody lives down there. It's just a crawl space, so that was awesome.
And then they have the clear ones, so if you utilize a little bit of light through your windows in the basement, it's still the same thing. You'll get the light in there.
We don't utilize light. We still bought the clear ones. I'm not exactly sure why. I'd have to ask my wife.
Might have been your only option.
It may have been. It may very well have been. Talking about lawn care here, you got aerating the lawn, fertilize, if you're a fertilizer type person, which I think anybody who listens to the Garden Doctor when he's on, they'll know how important fertilizing your lawn can be. Why is this important in the fall, though? Why the aeration? Any idea?
I don't know the answer to that question. I know we aerate. I know my dad aerates. I do not know the answer to that.
Well,
You just do it in the fall.
You just do it in the fall. I like it. I like it. I imagine it probably helps a little bit with soaking in some of the water and stuff when it melts
Could
too,
be,
right?
could
Maybe?
be.
I don't know.
Isn't there nitrogen in snow? I mean, I don't.
Scientists out there, 885-4446. Is there nitrogen in snow? Let us know
We're
what's going on.
We're gonna work our way to a phone call. Yeah,
It's going to happen. At some point, Wally's just going to call us from the studio and be like,
It's
yeah,
gonna be your dad. He's gonna be just devastated that you don't know why to aerate a lawn.
Oh, that's possible.
Yeah,
That's possible.
he's probably not listening, but yeah, he would have been a good one to call in and tell us why we should aerate the lawn.
There you go. Talking about the exterior of the building again, exterior paint touch up here. I feel like this goes along with the siding, right?
Yep, siding, but also, even if you have the wood frame around your garage doors still, oftentimes the paint starts to come off towards the bottom where it's sat in snow or you've hit it with the shovel or things like that. Just getting a coat of paint on there to seal it up, to not have the snow, the moisture soaking into that wood all winter long.
Right.
Just to seal it up.
Yeah, I think we forget sometimes that wood grain is just, like straws in a tree. It just sucks that water up, and who knows
Yeah.
how high up in the wood it can go. That makes a lot of sense. And this is one that's on my list for during vacation, cleaning out your dryer vent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one.
That's on my list too, actually.
Is it?
This week, yes.
I discovered it was time to do when the wife, we were walking around the house looking at the colors on the trees around her house, and she pointed out that she could see some fuzzies where the vent is. And
So
was
they've
like-
made it a ways already.
She's like, I bet if you walked over there, you could pull out a little handful. And I was like, or we could not, and I'll take care of it this weekend.
And dryer vents should be smooth tubing. Many houses have the corrugated, almost like a springy, slinky type of.
Right, which is cheap and readily available, which
Yeah.
is probably why most people have
But
it.
like you said, like the lint coming out of the dryer vent on the exterior, think about what's sitting in those
Yeah, it
pleats.
catches all of it.
Yes, it should be smooth.
And that's super important, not just for efficient running of your dryer, of course.
Yes, but to not put your smoke detectors to use.
Yeah, exactly. That's a fun way of saying it. Yeah, I was gonna say not, but yeah, you've got it head on there. I do want to remind everybody, as I missed doing the bottom of the hour disclaimer, we are in a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are that of Klodowski Real Estate, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brand. So we've talked about fall maintenance. I'm gonna set that aside because now I'm gonna talk a little bit about real estate. What's out there, ladies? What's available? Anything good?
I remember like last year at this time when we'd be like, oh, there's 13 houses available in
Right.
the different areas. So currently there are 69 active listings in the 53916 residential single families. Of
Right.
those, 32 are under contract. So there's 37 homes available that you could schedule a showing for and take a look at and potentially
That feels so much better
Purchase.
than what we've seen before.
yes, you could go and look at 2 or 3 houses in one day instead of like, this would hit the market. We got to get there tonight.
Right.
That you can to tour a few at a time. Interest rates are about right around the 6.4-ish%, and that's obviously good credit, 20% down.
Right.
Pretty close to the same for a 15-year as well as a 30-year. We have a few open houses coming up this weekend. Like I said, we'll have that on our Facebook page, Klodowski Real Estate's Facebook page, by Thursday, with the addresses and price points and the hours for the open houses.
Wonderful. Any of the houses in the market right now you guys have that you're particularly excited about when you've walked through and maybe really like?
Oh, this house just went up in Watertown today, and if I wanted to live in Watertown, I would absolutely live there. The kitchen's amazing. Irrelevant, but just.
I mean, I'm a kitchen guy, so feel free to elaborate. What makes it so nice?
It's just it's like this. I have painted cabinets, and that's fine, but these are like these beautiful wood cabinets, and there's a big island in the middle, and it's just.
I still like an island in the kitchen. Is that weird?
Oh, no, I like an island too.
I know for a while people were like eliminating them. Like, no, we don't want that. We want more of a way open concept. No.
I
like
showed one last week, and this house had a ginormous island. Oh my gosh. Like, my heart just fluttered a little bit.
Do you guys find that the little like extra luxuries actually add to the value of a home?
100%.
Like my wife wants to do like the double oven thing. I'm like, what's the purpose of that? And she's like, I can bake bread and a turkey. And I was like,
exactly.
Okay.
That is
exactly that. You can make Thanksgiving dinner.
Which I make anyways, but not the point. But does that actually translate to value then on the back end? Do people look at that and go, oh, I like that? Or are people like, oh,
that would sell me a house.
Double oven, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you talk about double oven, like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, good to know.
Let us know, Ninja.
Right, I was saying, babe, hopefully you're not listening. She really, really wants it.
I'm waiting for mine to die because it's like oven and then microwave above it. And I would ixnay that in microwave in a heartbeat to get a double oven in there.
See, I told her if we ever moved to the point where we had, because I really like the idea of the induction stovetops, but I want that on the island because then I have all that workspace around it. And she's like, well, then where do we put the oven? I was like, well, we can just get an oven that's standalone. She's like, or double oven. And the one she's looking at has like the French type doors or whatever on it. And I was like, man, that seems even fancier. I don't know. I work in radio. I don't make enough for that yet. So of the houses that are on the market, what are we seeing for kind of like a median value out there? Are there some starter homes there?
I feel like there's more starter homes than in the past 4 years.
Okay.
Like if you wanted to
And by starter home, we mean under $200,000 pretty much.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Like a first time, yeah, well.
But even under 250, I feel like a lot of our first time home buyers are like 250 and under.
Yes, I agree.
And there are a lot of nice houses, I think, that are available right now.
That's awesome. And you said this is in the greater Dodge County area, you said these houses
This
are?
is just in the 53916.
Oh.
I just pulled the 53916.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, because I know you guys were had a house, I'm not sure if it's still available, you guys had a house down the street from me up in Waupun on Fond du Lac Street.
We pulled that for now.
Okay.
Doing some updates. It'll be back on the market.
And that's part of the conversation people can have with you as a seller.
So you just live up the street from Tony's Pizza?
I do. And they're doing a remodel there, and I keep driving by.
I was there
looking.
picking up pizza Saturday night. I know.
Were you? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. I live just down the street. Like you're heading out of town, and you're gonna drive right past my house on the left. It's a nice little brick home. It's lovely.
We'll also have 34 Taylor Street coming on the market tomorrow.
Okay.
That's 4 bedrooms. They've redone a ton of stuff in there. New carpet is being finished up by noon today.
Okay.
Yep. And they've not finished space in the basement, but space that would be like nice for video gaming.
Right.
Or-
Usable space, but
Yes.
it's not a finished basement.
Yeah,
per
it's
se.
finishable. They just
Right.
didn't do that because they did a lot of other projects there. But 4 bedrooms, 2 full baths, fully fenced in, privacy fence, backyard.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll come on the market tomorrow.
There's also one coming tomorrow on Gould Street that Adam has. I don't know for sure about everything about it, but Gould Street here in Beaver Dam, that'll be hitting the market tomorrow.
If you want to ask Adam about it, I'm sure he's got the phone today.
He doesn't.
Doesn't? Oh, that's unusual.
But Adam has a cell phone. It's 920-382-9745.
There you go. Give Adam a call and tell him you want to know about that house.
And then we have this is a unique one. It is just a house. You don't get the land with it. It is part of a sporting club on Lake Sinisippi
Okay.
that the sporting club owns the land. The land is taxed only to the sporting club, and then they divvy you out your share of taxes. But yes, you just own the house. Kind of like a mobile
Interesting.
home per se, but there's not even like a
Right.
title to it that way. You own the house. You have access to Lake Mississippi.
Right.
The views are gorgeous.
Is there some sort of like weird, like, do they mow the lawn for you then, or do you have to do that yourself?
No, I
wonder?
believe the lawn mowing is included because
Oh.
it's similar, like kind of to a condo situation.
Right.
That there's a number of houses there, but yes, you don't own the land. Very unique, very unique.
I would say I don't think I've ever heard of that before outside of like buying a mobile home
Right.
in a like mobile
where
home
you
park.
where
Yeah.
you lease the land, correct? But yeah, you have the access to Lake Mississippi there, and this was used as a full-time home for a couple of years, more of a 3-season type of property, and then I'll be coming on the market later today.
You guys find all the unique stuff. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. You guys had talked a little bit about having a house that was on the market and then got pulled off the market. I want to go back a little bit because that's part of having that local advisor. You guys can help people sell a house exactly as they have it. Or you can look at them and say, okay, we've walked people through the house. Maybe we do have interest, maybe we don't have interest. Maybe people aren't giving us the numbers you want. Here's what we can do to help get you there. And that's part of having that conversation, right?
Correct. And we recently updated we always give people a checklist when they're considering listing of like what to do to prep your home. And it's entirely up to them what they will, want to invest their time and energy and potentially dollars into. We're still happy to list your home. But our thought usually is the more time you invest in preparing your home for the market, the less time you will actually spend on the market.
Right.
And sometimes they're just little things. Like I know when we sold, taking the rag and the stain and just hitting the corners of the trim that had been bumped by the vacuum cleaner. And
Right.
just little things to give it that polish feel. A lot of times removing our lives, the clutter, the stuff,
Right.
The 48 cookbooks on the kitchen counter. I mean, like things that you may use regularly that you love, but for showing purposes, nice to make that a little smaller and make the space seem less lived in so people can envision themselves there.
Right. And that can be tough for homeowners when they're looking to sell because they're looking at it with the eyes of, well, this is the house I've loved and lived in for quite a while. And really, you got to start looking at your house in the mindset of, would I buy this house now? Would I buy this house today? Not knowing how much I love it.
For what you want to get for it,
Right.
which is an important piece.
That is a very important piece. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about what people need to do or how the conversation goes if somebody comes to you as somebody who's looking to sell. How do they reach out to you? How do you guys start that process?
Usually most people reach out via phone call. Every now and then it's via Facebook message or a website message, but for the most part it's a phone call. First step is usually to schedule a time to go meet with them, get a tour of their house. We stress to people because like, I got to get this clean. You really don't need to clean anything up for us. Like we are just coming to look at the house itself.
Right.
We don't care if there's boxes in the living room or dirty laundry in the laundry room or your kids' bedrooms are full to the brim. Like
Right.
we
We know
just
you
want to
live
look at
there.
the house.
Right.
Yes. We sometimes get a little in the business depending, like if they know they want to list for sure, if they're not just, kind of information gathering at this point, we have conversations with them like, well, where are you going to? And what is the plan? And to get a feel for their reasons for relocating. And then we put together a market analysis for them showing, their property compared to other properties and what our listing recommendation would be. Ultimately, the seller sets the list price and we determine if we're a fit. Sometimes, say we meet with someone and we don't feel that we're a fit.
Right.
We may suggest, another realtor for them that would be a better fit. And once we're all on board and everybody agrees to the things, we get together and do a listing agreement to get the ball rolling and the photographer and getting on the market and starting showings.
Now, I know I always think about the fact that people want to apply a value maybe to their home that might be higher than what the market is. Do you guys ever talk to people where they're just like, oh yeah, I want to get $90,000 for my house, and you're like, actually, houses like this in this condition, which is great, are going for 140, 150.
Oh, yeah.
And that's an eye opener for them.
Sure, yeah, oh yeah. And then you also then sometimes get the people that are like, it's been a couple of years, but I had a gentleman that was like, well, I want to get this for my house because that's what my no place in Florida is going to cost me. And I was a little frank, and I was like, I can't put that in the listing that states like you need to get this for your house because that's what your new house costs. Like we
Right.
can only base it on what its value is.
Right.
I mean, you can list it as something, but that's a waste of everyone's time.
Right.
So,
And
yeah,
we
a lot
know
of
house
honest
prices in Florida
conversations.
can't be great. Yeah.
And we like to, I mean, even people are just curious. We are licensed salespeople, but we're not salespeople. Like, if you just want to have a chat or you say, hey, I'm thinking about selling this house to my son, but, you know, I have 5 kids, so I want to make sure it's fair. Will you put together a market analysis for me? We're happy to do that.
Nice, very nice. I know you guys are also great community resources. You know, I know you called in just
the
yesterday.
garbage carts.
You know, good old Wade Bates, who is consistently clueless about everything that goes on in the average world. And Wade, if you're listening, you know it's true. You know, wheel falls off his garbage can. He has no idea what to do. Who does he call? Does he get another one? Can he fix it? What's the plan? And then, sure enough, familiar voice calls in, voice of reason, telling him what to do. But that works for a lot of other things. You guys know chimney sweeps in the area, which I didn't even think was a thing anymore.
Sure.
You know, if you need somebody to paint, to repoint brick, to, you know, for landscaping, tree trimming, all of that, you guys probably just have a laundry list.
Sure, and in most of the, I mean, not most, I think everybody on our list are people that we have worked with,
Yeah.
that we've had good experiences with, that not even us, but like our clients, our buyers, sellers have had good experience with. Obviously, anybody can use whoever they'd like, but yeah,
Right.
we have a nice little list of service providers.
I mean, that's got to be reassuring. I know for me, if I was in the market to buy, which I'm not currently, but I know who to talk to when I am. If I was in the market to buy, knowing that if I go, oh man, I really like this property, but that tree's got to come down. You're like, actually, we got a guy. You know, call out, get a price. I can't guarantee he's going to be the best, but we know he does good work. That sort of thing is going to make me feel better. As opposed to, yeah, well, that's your problem after you buy the house.
Right.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate
See
that.
what the chatter says.
Yeah, because that's always the most accurate
Yeah,
thing out
true
there.
story.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Although if I had known when we were buying our house that we were going to be that close to Tony's Pizza, I probably would have reached out to the chatter to find out the best thing to get on the menu because I get different stuff every time I'm there, and it's always good.
Have you gotten the thick pizza, the stuffed pizza?
I have not gotten the stuffed pizza
With
yet.
fresh, you got to get some. Do you get fresh garlic ever on your pizza?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Oh my
Always.
gosh.
Always. I do know that was actually the first meal we had when we moved into our house was Tony's Pizza. And the only thing that threw me is I was not expecting it to be cut into squares when they did it.
Oh.
And so like I opened it up and I went to go grab a slice and I'm like, it's in squares. And I'm like, I don't remember that since like
Tastes
pizza
different,
parties
doesn't
at school. And it does because there are times where you get like one with no crust on it and you're like, oh, this is delicious from piece to piece. Which in my household, my family likes to not eat the crusts except for Dad. Or if we get stuffed crust, which, you know, is good. But yeah, pizza recommendations. I'm sure if we had restaurant recommendations in an area, you guys could probably help us out there too, right?
Well, this has been a paid presentation for Tony's Pizza.
Yeah, well, in general, right? I mean, if I move into an area that I'm, you know, maybe coming from outside the area,
Yeah.
and you guys sell me a house.
That is very fair. I mean, we use like
Yeah.
someone out of the area. The chamber has some great resources like the booklets, the brochures. That like we put that together for them. But even if someone's just in the area, I had some folks looking at a lot a few months ago, out of the area, looking to potentially build here. Like, oh, we want to go somewhere from lunch. Where do you recommend? So I rattle off a few. I mean, yeah.
There you go. No, now, I didn't even think about ask about this, but do you guys have like a, hey, you're a homeowner, here's a little bundle of information you give, or anything like that? I know you guys have your like customer appreciation get-togethers.
But we should have our tech Canva Facebook man do that for us.
That'd be Adam. Okay. AKA Adam. And any of the great 99% of the Canva things that we post, Adam is our guy.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Mom,
That's
we
why
can
he's
print.
never here.
We can print, and that's
Printing is important though, because
Yeah.
somehow it's got to get from the digital to paper. So we definitely understand that. Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, our time is running out, so I want to give you guys one last chance to throw whatever pitch you want out there. Let people know again how they can get a hold of you. Who's got the phone this week? And because that's always the big question.
I have the phone this week, so feel free to call. We're off the
Okay.
hook. No. KlodowskiRealEstate.com is our website. Again, you have to register on there to look, but know that we are not going to
stalk you.
harass you, whatever term you'd like to use. You register, you get in, you get a welcome email. That's it. Unless you reach out to us and say, hey, contact me. And we link to the statewide MLS, so you will see the properties update as regularly as the multiple listing service does. We have a Facebook page, KlodowskiRealEstate.com, and Klodowski is KLODOWSKI, or by calling the office line, 920-219-9212.
Awesome. Well, ladies, as always, it's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thanks,
I feel like
Peter.
I've learned a lot, and we've had, I'd like to think, a pretty good time today.
I think so too.
Awesome. This has been a paid program. The advice and opinions expressed during the program are purely that of Klodowski Real Estate and not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands.